What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to Strangers Minds. I'm Fernando, and today we are reading from Reddit sub Haunted. Yes. And 5 hours ago, by Inked Bun Mom, well, she put up a story. Let's see what she writes. Okay? Not much, but let's see. My boyfriend was wide awake around 12:30 a.m. and he heard my name being whispered twice. After the first whisper, he looked up and saw a black shadow against the wall, and it seemed to be pointing in the direction of where I was sleeping. He was not on any type of drugs, medication, sleep deprived, etc. 100% sober and awake. Years ago, I myself saw a large black shadow right above me. It had a huge wingspan, huh, and I felt like it was suffocating me. So I'm wondering if something is attached to me. How do I figure it out without opening the wrong doors? Huh. This is a pretty good question. Why would you think something like this is attached to you? My question would be, have you witnessed anything like this similar anywhere else you lived prior to this incident? And if so, then there might be a possibility something is attached to you. But my other question would be, what did you do to have an attachment? So I know if somebody has an attachment that's been, for a while, you might not know how you got an attachment, but there has to be something, probably a place that you went, probably something that you did that caused this attachment. Until some questions are answered, we're going to take this as far as, you have an attachment. So, with that being said, if your boyfriend is experiencing paranormal activity and you have been witnessing shadow with a wingspan, that's wild. That's scary. That's scary. But my advice would be trying to get your faith as strong as you can. Do you have a faith? Do you believe in religion? Because you might have to put yourself in a strong mental space so you could tell whatever's attached to you to leave you alone. And if you have tried and this did not work, I would recommend that you find some help, whether it is through some sort of religion, through a church, or doing some investigating. And you might need to have some proper investigators come in and trying to find some answers for you. But let's see what the comment says. There's not a lot. This is just 5 hours ago. But this sounds crazy. Yeah. Yeah. It sounds I'm sorry, not crazy. This sounds scary. It definitely is. Definitely is. And having somebody else to basically solidify that you are not crazy makes the situation even more scarier. But let's see what Bulky Ad says. What you should do one night is pretend you're sleeping. You're asleep. Okay. When this entity starts to whisper your name and get close to you, you wait for your moment. Wait until it walks up to your bedside and it towers over you. That's when you jump up and yell "Hola" with a big smile. The fucker will be so confused, he'll be convinced he's got the wrong person. Oh man. If only it was so easy. You're just sleeping, waiting for this to come close to you. Wake up and say, Hola, I'm Dora the Explorer. dude, dude. Um, if you have the cojones to, and I'm saying cojones in Spanish because he says hola, so I'm assuming that bulky ad knows a little bit of Spanish or is Spanish himself, Latino. If you're able to do that while having this, because I'm telling you, man, I've been to places where this feeling of dread, this feeling of anxiety, this feeling that could be overwhelming. And I'm sorry, but that is very, very difficult to do to just be like, hey, hola. I know he's probably joking, but yeah, this is definitely not advice you want to take. Take mines instead. And yeah, I would love to know what happens if you actually try to face this with a more reasonable approach and be firm and just with authority tell whatever you feel is attached to you that you are not the one. You are strong, you are good, you're safe. Leave you alone and to not return to my household ever again. And if that doesn't work, get some help one way or another. If it's through another, paranormal investigator, or, I would even say go straight to that. I would say go to like if you have faith, religion, go to your local church, talk to somebody. Maybe they will help. So let's go on to the next one. 8 hours ago, explored haunted buildings at the site of a mine disaster. This is actually a YouTube video. I'm just curious to know how long is the video? 8 minutes? Not so bad. Let's put on our
Deep in
headphones.
Montana's Little Belt
Okay.
Mountains sits Nyhart, a quiet place today, but loud with secrets. Once a booming mining town, Nyhart and its neighbors, Barker and Hughesville, were rich with promise, but silenced by tragedy. And some say not everything left when the miners did. Nyhart's story began in 1881 when prospectors struck rich deposits of silver in the Little Belt Mountains. Word spread fast, and within just a few years, this isolated canyon was swarming with miners, merchants, and fortune seekers. By the mid 1880s, Nyhart had nearly 1,500 residents, a bustling camp that sprouted saloons, boarding houses, general stores, and even a school. The town quickly became one of the most productive silver camps in Montana, with major mines like the Queen of the Hills and the Broadwater fueling its growth. In 1891, the Great Northern Railway extended a line directly into Nyhart, making ore shipments easier and bringing in supplies that turned the rough mining town into a permanent settlement. At its peak, Nyhart wasn't just a town in the mountains, it was a symbol of frontier opportunity. But like so many boom towns, that success came with a clock that was already ticking down. But silver towns rarely last forever. In the 1890s, the first signs of decline were already showing. Some of the richest veins had already been played out, and smaller operators could not keep up with the costs. Then came the Panic of 1893, a national economic collapse that drove silver prices into the ground. Almost overnight, Nyhart's prosperity vanished. Mines closed, wages stopped, and families packed wagons to leave. While the Great Northern Railway still ran trains into the canyon, fewer and fewer cars carried ore out. By the early 1900s, Nyhart's population had shrunk to just a fraction of its peak. Fires and harsh winters destroyed many buildings, leaving behind shells of once busy saloons and homes. Though mining picked up in brief spurts throughout the 20th century, Nyhart never regained its glory. What had once been a roaring silver camp turned into a quiet mountain community haunted by the silence of what was lost. Tragedy wasn't just a part of daily risk, it left scars on this community. On April 25th, 1896, just outside Nyhart, the Broadwater's Mine powder magazine exploded with a force that rocked the canyon. The blast lit up the night sky and could be heard for miles in every direction. Entire buildings shook, and windows rattled as far away as the nearby town of Monarch, about 20 miles away. 7 miners were instantly killed, some blown apart by the concussion, others crushed beneath collapsing timbers. 16 more were badly injured, men who had simply been finishing a shift or preparing to sleep in their bunkhouses. Survivors later recalled stumbling through the darkness, blinded by smoke, choking on the sulfurous dust. The town reeled. Funerals were held in quick succession, with grieving families filling Nyhart's small cemetery. For weeks, widows and children walked streets that felt emptier with every passing day. Locals swore they could hear the cries from that night echoing through the hills, especially when the wind whipped down from the mines. The Broadwater explosion didn't just destroy lives, it destroyed Nyhart's sense of safety. Everyone knew mining was dangerous, but this was different. It was sudden, senseless, and unforgettable. Even after the rubble was cleared and work resumed, whispers persisted that the miners taken that night never truly left. Some spoke of seeing figures on the ridges after dark, or hearing muffled voices near the old blast site long after the shafts had been sealed. That disaster didn't just collapse rock, it left a wound in the community, and more than a century later, many still believe that wound lingers in the air around Nyhart today. Not far from Nyhart lie Barker and Hughesville, two more mining camps that rose and fell with the same brutal speed. In the late 1870s, miners swarmed these hills, sending ore to the smelter, which operated for just 18 months before shutting down. At their peak, hundreds of men lived and worked there, carving roads into the mountains and building cabins that still cling to the landscape today. What's left now is eerie, rotting wood cabins, rusting machinery, and a lonely cemetery where the names on the headstones are fading. The sound of the smelter is gone, but the ruins still loom over the valley like a skeleton standing there. It's hard not to imagine the clatter of ore carts or the laughter of miners echoing through the hills. Barker and Hughesville may be quiet now, but their silence feels heavier than most towns. Mining towns like this don't just fade away, they leave scars. Death was a part of life here. Mines collapsed without warning, lanterns sparked deadly fires, and gunfights erupted in saloons long after the shifts underground. And in Barker and Hughesville, especially, whispers of strange encounters have lingered. Visitors talk about walking through the old cemetery and feeling watched, even when the place looks deserted. Some say that they have seen faint lantern lights weaving between the trees, like miners heading home after a long shift. But when you follow the glow, it disappears. At the ruins of the smelter, people report metallic sounds such as pickaxes striking stone or ore carts rattling over the tracks. A few even claim to hear men's voices echoing underground, shouting orders through the tunnels that were sealed up generations ago. Inside the cabin, the air's the, inside of the cabins, the air feels heavier. Cold spots hang in the middle of rooms, even on warm summer days. Some visitors describe an overwhelming sense of dread, as if they've intruded on private ground. One man swore he stepped inside a cabin and instantly felt sick to his stomach, like the walls themselves wanted him gone. Are these just tricks of the imagination, or echoes of the miners and families who once lived here? Out here with the wind howling through empty door frames and shadows moving across broken windows, the line between past and present feels thinner than we'd like to admit. Today, Nyhart is little more than a quiet mountain community home to just a handful of residents and a scattering of old buildings that cling to the past. About 40 people currently reside in Nyhart. The main street feels frozen in time, with weathered storefronts and cabins nestled against the backdrop of the Little Belt Mountains. Barker and Hughesville, once alive with the noise of miners and smelters, are now ghostly ruins, collapsed cabins, and rusting equipment. A cemetery that lies amongst the trees also remains. Nature has reclaimed much of what people left behind. The silence is heavy here, broken by only the wind through the pines or the occasional crack of settling wood. It's peaceful and beautiful, but impossible to walk through these empty roads without feeling that the past is still very close. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more abandoned towns.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna like that because I love anything that has to do with abandonment of a structure, or even now with this, a town. Um, just in case for you guys coming across this video, I am a paranormal investigator. And one of the things that I enjoy doing is going to abandoned locations. So this is very, very interesting to me. It's in Montana. Fortunately, is a long ways out. I'm in Florida. But hey, who knows? Who knows? I would love to actually go there because there is a lot of dark history when mining is concerned. That is for sure. Thank you, Conscious Log, for this brief history lesson on this Montana uh, ghost town. It was awesome, you guys. It was awesome. I am all about history. I am all about knowing knowing what's going on with a location before I go there, because I might possibly have just put that town in my bucket list just in case. And I got an extensive bucket list. So 2 days ago, are these orbs? Let's see. I need opinions on this one, please. Orbs. Honestly, I'm not a fan of orbs because orbs could be dust, insects. The closer they are to the camera while it moves, it looks like this. But it could also be some sort of light reflection bouncing off, and it shows up like this on camera. The only thing is, orbs, paranormal investigators aren't big on orbs. What's more interesting is that if you are experiencing real orbs, that means you are experiencing some sort of paranormal activity. Now, that would be interesting to know if there are paranormal activity occurring in your house. No, those are dogs. Come on now. No, that's dust. That's what I said. Dust is primarily made up of dead skin cells. Dogs and bedding are incredibly dusty. That is true. Like refraction. Nope. Dust and animals, dandruff, almost certainly. It's almost never orbs unless you see them physically glowing and moving around and then zipping away. Just never pay attention to orbs. The idea got too hyper exaggerated by Ghost Hunter TV shows. You're sorry, but television shows, these paranormal investigating groups. Although I gotta say, I am a fan of Ghost Hunters, and I used to be a fan of Ghost Adventures, but Ghost Adventures after the fourth, fifth season, I could honestly say is just became damn near what's the word I want to use that won't, be too rough on them. But yeah, just annoying. I guess that's the best word I could come up with. Annoying. Sometimes you just got to know when to just hang up the towel, right? But Ghost Hunters, sorry. At least they bring more of a paranormal investigating aspect into their shows. If they say something's an orb, they are actually positively correct because they believe what I believe. They believe that it could be dust, it could be insects, and if they post something on their television show of an orb, best believe it has characteristics of an orb, just like how you described. So, with that, let's move on to the next. My friend has got me a haunted doll for my birthday, and I'm shit scared. 3 days ago by Dish. Let's see what's up with this. So, my birthday is next Wednesday, and somehow I've scared myself into not wanting her. I don't know if she's haunted, but the idea of her is freaking me out big time. I don't want her. I don't know how I'm supposed to dispose of her. I don't even know if this is on the right sub. Dear Lords, what do I do? To get past the jumble of words, how would I dispose of her without her harboring any connections to me? I'm terrified of the concept of having her in my possession. Okay, well, you're afraid of a doll, but why would you say it's haunted? What has happened in your household as far as paranormal activity is concerned? Now, if you receive an actual doll that's haunted and you are experiencing paranormal activity, uh the best thing to do is to exercise the doll because there might, but again, this is coming from a perspective that haunted items is rare. An haunted doll is rare. Like, yes, we've let Hollywood convince us that Annabelle is, like the epitome of a haunted doll. But the real story of Annabelle from Ed and Lorraine Warren is a Raggedy Ann doll. And yes, it is possessed, according to them, and according to a lot of, instances. Not so long ago, a gentleman was doing a Annabelle tour with the doll going around, and he ended up passing away. So the stories behind Annabelle is that if you, mess around with her, she in a way curses you and you lose your or something bad happens to you as it's I mean it's not always about death, but she puts like bad things starts happening, you start getting nightmares, or like it's just a downhill spiral. And I'm talking about Annabelle, but why do you think this is a haunted doll? As far as I'm concerned, what you wrote doesn't say anything else but that. Damn, Critical Heart went in. So, but first let's try Mitchie Hunt. Take it to Goodwill and drop it off. No need to get scared. It's probably not haunted, but life is hard enough without adding shit to it. I agree. I agree. But you know what? Um, I say this from a perspective of a paranormal investigator, and unfortunately, I've said this comment even when it comes to realtors. If a realtor knows that a house is haunted and they're still trying to sell the house and not letting the next owners know that the house is haunted, I don't know. That's messed up. I wouldn't feel comfortable with myself. I'm going to feel as though like I did something wrong, and that is a messed up and you should get bad juju from it. But if you think the doll is haunted and putting it in Goodwill, and just anybody that's in the state of need to go to Goodwill and just to have something, just something free, something from Goodwill. We're talking about like people in, with hard times. You knowing you put something haunted in there so somebody, one of them could take it, that's kind of messed up. That's kind of messed up. If I say, unfortunately, you received a gift that is meant for you. If you feel that the doll is haunted, first of all, you need to find out if it's haunted. Uh, Put aside your paranoia, actually try and get some sort of evidence that it's haunted. Like, what's going on? Like, we don't have no information, but you need to deal with it. You need to deal with it. And the best way to deal with it is by If you have questions about anything, if you have a religion or a faith, go to your local, church or somebody that you can find on, or even do something like this on Reddit. But make sure you come across good, heart minded people. Let's see what Critical Heart says. So there's a lot to go into here, but it just simply comes down to what you are and are not comfortable with at the end of the day. I previously owned haunted dolls. Jesus Christ, they're making it seem like it's so occasion. It's a regular occurrence to come across a haunted doll. I'm not judging Critical Heart, but it is rare to come across a haunted object. It is rare. I previously owned a haunted doll, like a lot. Oh, you had a lot of haunted dolls? Okay. Okay. And before I got my very first one, I had normal fears that most have when it comes to the paranormal, mostly from horror shows and movies, hyped up scary stories from others over the years. I'm sure you get the idea. Despite the fear, there was always an underlying interest in it that I never personally experienced and wanted to, but with the fears and lack of knowledge, I knew I had to figure I knew I had to kind of figure that out. So I began numbing myself watching real life paranormal event videos while working on the fear part. And during that, I came across videos that people have bought haunted dolls online, and I was like, oh shit, and prepare myself to get one. Honestly, I'm glad I did. After a few months of research, joining haunted doll groups on Facebook and here on Reddit, I seen how crazy common it is that there's large communities of people who actually do this, and it seems great. What in the world, guys? What are we reading? Okay, um, that's wild. As someone who struggled with heavy depression, it gave me a new sense of purpose, and I held onto that and found the perfect doll in that moment from a haunted doll seller on Etsy. Oh my god. What are we reading, you guys? Oh man. You know what? Like this person right now to me, and don't no disrespect, but to me it sounds like this person is very gullible, and she could see a paranormal video and just like shit her pants on camera. Like this is the thought process that I'm getting right now. For $35, she was mine and came with a little backstory which helped to gain some understanding and sympathy from me towards her. When she arrived, I made sure to have affordable paranormal equipment and look into ways to make her pleased and comfortable with me offerings, etc. And what I thought I was going to expect was actually the opposite of what I expected. Despite some occasional activities such as lighting up my EMF reader, lighting up a sensor ball, and communication through spirit box, dowsing rods, and a pendulum, etc., there was no shadow people or objects flying. I ended up getting more haunted dolls after that because I didn't want her to be lonely. Holy crap. And I kind of got in over my head and had some not so good spirits attached to some of these dolls, and ended up getting rid of them all by selling them online. Oh no, boy. Hey, you know what? I'm not going to continue reading this. Dish, do not listen to Critical Heart. Do not listen. That is awful, awful advice. Because right now, the way I see it is a somewhat, I'm gonna put it like this as an example. A person that is a pet lover adopting animals, and as soon as they have possession of it, they can't handle it. Let's, put this burden onto somebody else. That's how I see this. That's how I see this. That is so messed up. And I'm sorry, you guys. If you buy a haunted doll off Etsy, it is not haunted. It is not haunted. She just wasted $35. But hey, if she got it, she got it. But definitely don't listen to this person. Bad advice over here. It Once again, I'm gonna go back to my original comment. If Why do you feel this doll is haunted? Are you experiencing paranormal activity? And if you are, and you are for certain, you need proof. You need to get some evidence of this. And if it does come down to that you are experiencing paranormal activity due to a doll, then there are ways or processes that you could take so you can handle that and safe enough. You could even, once the doll is like, let's say, not haunted, you could actually keep it. It's a gift, right? But if you are too traumatized and you don't want to keep it, make sure it is not attached to something, to anything, and then you could get rid of it. But don't give it to somebody else. You're just passing down a bullet with your name on it. That's the way I see it. So let's see what's up. Ooh, my brother was in South Korea during floods, and okay, this is in haunted. So let's see what's up. Is there a story? Let's pause this right quick. Okay, South Korea, I guess, had some pretty bad flooding this year. My brother was in South Korea during the floods and recorded this video. He didn't even notice this figure on camera until my mom pointed it out. Here's video. I will post photos and comments. To me, it looks like an older man with a long beard in the enhanced photo. Okay, so adorable meeting 120. Let's put up the volume all the way up. Let's hear it. Let's see it one more time because honestly, I believe what they're saying is an old man, whatever. It's this part right over here. Okay, so let's see the enhanced photo if she posted it. Now, what I'm going to say is I don't think this video was tampered with. I don't think this photo is tampered with. It's just enhanced. I don't think it's anything. I think that something natural occurred here, but due to, the mysterious circumstances of, of everything else, you're probably seeing something. I don't see an old man at all. Is it me, or does this look like it's part of, I don't know, a tree, and there's probably something hanging on it? I don't know, like a deflatable balloon. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I know it's not a deflatable balloon, but I'm just saying. Um, I don't think this is anything at all, you guys. It's just a figment of your imagination. What I'm trying to do is get out of here without. Okay. Oh, there you go. That's what I didn't want to do. Okay, wait. Escape. Back up. No, I'm stuck. Okay. So let's go back. Okay, damn. I had to like completely get out. All right. Looks like a guy in some really white sneakers. Oh my god. Could be. This person would be standing somehow in line with the treetops, though. Yeah. Okay. It's pretty clear that there's something there, and the camera stops when the thing is dead center in the shot, but your brother doesn't notice it. The white head and shoes even stand out in the background, too. I get this is a slow mo, probably, but still doesn't make sense. Not buying it. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, but even if this wasn't edited in and it's just something just there, like it looks like it's just part. There's something explainable here. Yeah, like something hanging or something. Something's on the trees. I don't think there's nothing paranormal here. But anyway, um, with that being said, we're gonna call it right here, you guys. Thank you guys for joining me in this Reddit reads or reading from Reddit subreddit Haunted. It's always fun, and I enjoy doing what I'm doing for you guys. But if you are enjoying this content, please do what you do when you like a channel. Hit that like, share, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff, and I'll catch you guys on the next. Peace.